Hello, my dear friends. We all need chizuk. It's been a very difficult time for the last almost 2 months since the day of infamy, October 7th. And although the atrocities took place in the state of Israel, but Kol Yisrael Reivim Zeh Zeh, we're all part of it. We all feel the enormous pain. We're still in Avelos for the people that were murdered, and we still feel the tremendous anxiety and trepidation and identification with the hostages that are being held in horrific situations in Gaza. And the war is still raging, and the soldiers are being every day there's a loss of life, and their lives have been disrupted, and the families are frightened, and we're all davening together as all of Klal Yisrael is davening to the Ribbon Shalom, and the Saini Yisrael from around the world, the haters of the Jewish people are coming out of the woodwork, and we're under attack and assault constantly, and we're just hoping that this will come to an end quickly and soon, and it should be resolved in a positive way. So we need chizuk. So I was looking to the parsha to see what words of chizuk can I find in the parsha, and I thought that perhaps Yaakov Avinu, in the beginning of the parsha, Yaakov, he returns from the house of Lavan, and now he's confronted by Esav, who's coming to attack him because he's still angry and he wants to murder Yaakov. So Yaakov sends malachim. He sends angels, right? The Chumash says, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim. He sent, the plain meaning of malachim is emissaries, to speak to Esav and to try to appease him. But Rashi says it means malachim mamish. He sent angels. And everybody asked, why did he send angels? What did he have to send angels? He wanted somebody to talk to Esav. He didn't have to send angels. So some say it's because he wanted to frighten Esav. But I want to suggest Yaakov sent angels because he wanted to give chizuk to himself and to his family. How so? So here's the thought. As having worked in the OU for almost 40 years, I've worked with many Lubavitcher shluchim around the world. The OU has plants in approximately 100 countries. In many of these places, there are no Jews. So where do you need mashgichim to certify the companies? Wherever you go, there are Lubavitcher shluchim. They're all over the place. They're all over the world. It's unbelievable. And they are in far-flung places where there are no Jews, and there's no yeshivas, and there's no Jewish community. But there's Lubavitchers there. And then Rabbi Yanak always says that the OU is the largest employer of Lubavitcher shluchim in the world, because we have so many of our mashgichim, our Lubavitchers around the world. How did the Lubavitchers have the fortitude to live without Jewish communities? They live in isolations, and they raise their family, and they go out to start Chabad houses when they're first married. How do they have the fortitude? What gives them chizuk? So the answer is the chizuk comes from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Rebbe was a Adam Gadol, and he was brilliant. He figured out a way to give chizuk to those Lubavitchers that are around the world, and that was because the Rebbe felt it's important to have wherever there may be Jewish life. All these countries of Jews come to visit, and they're there, so that they need a place to stay. They stay in Chabad. They eat in Chabad. The Rebbe sent them to be shlichim and to be makarev people. So the Rebbe had a brilliant idea, and that was he called them shlichim. He called them agents. Why shlichim? Because when a person is on a mission, it gives a person tremendous strength and koyach and fortitude and optimism. And these people, they know that they're not just happen to be living there. They're shlichim. So they're on a mission. They have a cause. And who are they shlichim of? They're shlichim of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who was for them. He was for everybody. He was an Adam Gadol, but especially for his Hasidim, and ultimately they're shlichim of the Ribbon Shalom. The Rebbe coined another phrase. He has the young people are part of a kiruv organization called Tzivos Hashem, the army. But what army? It's the army of Hashem, and those shlichim are the same way. They're the shlichim ultimately of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you know that you're on a mission, it emboldens you and it inspires you, and it gives you the energy and the kayach and the strength to endure the most difficult of situations. Soldiers, they have to fight in horrific conditions, but they know that they're on a cause and that it rests on their shoulders. That was the genius of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, that he inspired people to by calling them, not just coining the phrase, but and they live with that they are shlichim of the Rebbe and the shlichim of the Ribono Shel Olam. Yaakov Avinu wanted to inspire himself and to inspire his children. There's so much suffering that has gone on, and when they were in the base Lavan, so the brothers of Lavan, they had tremendous hostility against Yaakov and his family, and now they're the family, they're fugitives and they're running away from Lavan, and now there's a camp, an army of Esav's people coming to Esav and his chaverim coming to attack the Jewish people. So what did Yaakov do? He sent malachim, because by doing so, what right did Yaakov have to send malachim? Who gave him the permission to send malachim? And if I would tell a malach, could you go and buy me a bag of potatoes? And it's too hard for me to go to stop and shop right. I don't have the time. How about going shopping for me and get me some groceries? They're not going to pay any attention. By what authority did Yaakov send shlichim? So Yaakov sent shlichim. He sent the angels because Yaakov was on a mission. His whole life was, from beginning to end, was a mission. From the moment he was born, it was Yado Achezes Ba'akev Esav. He was holding on to the foot of Esav. What does that represent? Esav represents the force of evil in the world. Denies the existence of Ribono Shel Olam, the antithesis of kedusha, destructive and hurtful and harmful and hashchasa. So Yaakov, from the moment he was born, Yaakov's mission is to overpower Esav. Even before he was born, Rivka went to Lidros Kimi to find out why in her womb why there was battling going on, and the Navi told her, that in your womb there's two great nations, and they're going to be battling throughout the history of the world. And when one is victorious, the other is going to be weak. And when the other one, the one that's weak, becomes strong, then the other one will become weak. And that is an ongoing battle between Yaakov and Esav, between the forces of good and the forces of evil. And even before Yaakov encountered Esav, he fought by Yovak Yishimo. In this week's parsha, he has a battle with some person, the unknown. Who is that? Who's that person that he's fighting? So Chazal say it was Saral Shel Esav, who is the angel of Esav. It means Esav is the quintessential person of evil. And that was, the angel represents the spiritual dimension of the evil of Esav, because there's spiritual forces for good and there's spiritual forces for bad, and there's an ongoing battle that Yaakov fights with the Sar Shel Esav Adalos Hashachar, the Chumash says, until the dawn, until the beginning of dawn, in the morning, and that represents when the Mashiach will come. When the Mashiach will come, then the Esav will be completely eradicated and destroyed. But until that time, who's fighting against the forces of evil in the world? It's Yaakov, and there's a religious war between Yaakov and Esav and all the forces of evil in the world. So Yaakov, by what authority did he have a right to send malachim, angels? Because he himself was an agent of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He himself was in shlichus. You don't have to. That's not only the Lubavitchers that are in shlichus. You know, there's that famous iconic advertisement. You don't have to be Jewish to love Levi's Jewish right. Well, you don't have to be a Lubavitcher to be a shliach. We're all shlichim. We're all shlichim of the Ribono Shel Olam. And Yaakov understood that he's a shliach. This is his life mission, to bring kedusha into the world, and the extension of what Avram taught, monotheism and Yitzchak. And now Yaakov is continuing, and Yaakov is creating a Jewish nation, so that throughout world history, the Jewish people are able to spread the word of Hashem. So Yaakov knew he was on a mission. He was on shlichus, and therefore he has the right to tell Malachim what to do. He could send shlichim to Esav, and that was a tremendous symbol for himself and his children. They have to remember and realize that we are in a holy war, and that I mean, somewhat trepidatious are using the word holy war because it's been abused and misused in so many different ways. But the real holy war is the war between kedusha and tuma, between good and evil. That's the real holy war, and Klal Yisrael is engaged in that holy war. It's Milchemes Hashem that's taking place throughout Jewish history, and Yaakov wanted his children and his descendants to know that we're all in shlichus. So therefore, he has a right to send malachim, Vayishlach Yaakov malachim, because we're all working. We're all like the malachim. We're all agents of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're all part of the army of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're all engaged in that war. And I think that that's important for us to remember now, that this is not just a some type of territorial conflict that's taking place with Hamas and the anti-Semitism in the world. It's not just racial hatred that's taking place. This is a continuation of a Yayavek Ishimo. It's the same battle that Yaakov was fighting with the Sar Shel Esav. We are the heirs of Yaakov Avinu, and we are engaged in that same war and that same battle. And we have to, if we know that we're on a mission, and we have right on our side because we are fighting for the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're part of Tzivos Hashem. The Lubavitcher coined that phrase for the children of Lubavitcher, the Tzivos Hashem, the army of Hashem. But it's not just the children of Lubavitcher. We're all Tzivos Hashem. We're all in the army of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we're all part of that effort. We're all on a mission. And I think that should be for us as a source of chizuk to know that in the end, it's not just people that hate us and they want to harm us. It's a Milchemes Hashem, and if we will be strong in our munah, and we will continue to daven, and we continue to do mitzvos, and worry about Acheinu B'nai Yisrael, then in Mir Hashem, in the end, we will be victorious because we have HaKadosh Baruch. We are representing the Bari Olam. We're representing HaKadosh Baruch who created the heavens and the earth. And in Mir Hashem, let us hope that very soon we will see all the hostages should be freed and the war should come to an end, and the hatred against Klal Yisrael should dissipate. And in Mir Hashem, we should be zocheh to see the coming of Mashiach, Meheira of Yameinu. Amen.